Roger Federer is angry. In fact, he's sick of this shit. Don't believe me? Play the clip. Take a listen to Roger Federer for yourself.
I know there was questions, do I have a preference, but that doesn't mean like Roger asks, Roger gets. Just remember that. Because I heard this shit too often now. I'm sick and tired of it. That apparently I call the shots. The tournament and the TV stations do.
Dirty Dan thinks the preferential treatment and scheduling hurt his chances to win today's third-round match against Roger Federer, first up on Arthur Ashe Stadium.
I was fatigued as well. Thought it was pretty tough. I was first up after playing yesterday, if I'm being brutally honest. So it was a bit disappointing. You think a guy who's my ranking has any say in that? There's probably about 4 people in this tournament who has a say when they play.
When the media asked Roger Federer in the press conference after his win if he had in fact asked for the schedule today, Federer said, no, I haven't. And frankly, he's tired of hearing it. Who could forget the myth that Fed haters were passing around in 2018 after Roger Federer won his 20th major at the Australian Open, that he had ordered the Australian Open to close the roof to give him more favorable conditions over Marin Cilic. And I'm sick and tired of it too. Because just in the last video, I was accused of running a channel that spreads propaganda for Roger Federer. Let me assure you, this channel is not biased towards any tennis player. We cover the sport and the most interesting stories going on in the sport. And today, the most interesting story happens to revolve around Roger Federer. Today on the show, another quick show. I got to hit the court soon, but it will be a very good show. I think we went through that enough, so you heard what Fed and Dirty Dan said. I'll read the quotes one more time to get more deep on that. Also, Francisco Roy, part of the Rafa Nadal coaching team, says Rafa is finally cracking the Da Vinci Code of faster tennis courts. The draw as it stands today, and Novak Djokovic, big question mark. Is that left shoulder going to be an issue down the stretch? Welcome to Coffee Break Tennis, the home of high IQ tennis fans and players of the sport. Co-host Mr. Goat isn't here today because he doesn't like how late I've been scheduling these shows in the mid-afternoon. But I'm here. So the show opened today. Dan Evans, frustrated by U.S. Open scheduling after Roger Federer. Dan Evans just lost. I don't blame Dirty Dan at all. By the way, here was a funny comment. We're all cussing today. I'll bleep it out because YouTube doesn't like swear words, and personally, I prefer not to work blue. Who the hell are you talking about? If you're new to the show, we got lots of nicknames. Do your best to keep up. Dirty Dan, real quick explanation, and they even cover it in this, this is Sky Sports, but I had a piece from CNN earlier. It said, Roger Federer, sick and tired. It almost looks like, oh no, Federer, that's why he lost the first couple rounds, or lost a set in the first couple rounds. He's sick. He's tired. No. Sick and tired of the stuff. Diese Scheiße. Anyway, CNN did refer to a couple years ago the cocaine ban, the doping. It's not really doping. Cocaine is not going to help your tennis game. Trust me. Maybe it'll help you get through one tiebreaker. Anyways, so Dirty Dan, he did that. He's back. It's a fun name that we use here on the show. We actually really like Dirty Dan, Mr. Goat, myself, and most fans of Coffee Break Tennis. Agree. Comment below if you don't like Dirty Dan. Let us know. We'll feature you in the next show. I swear. Just tell me a halfway coherent argument of why not to like Dirty Dan, and we will cover that in the next show. Maybe tonight after Djokovic, we might do a patron saint only podcast. So go to patreon.com/Coffee Break Tennis to join our team of supporters here, keeping the show going and growing. We thank you very much, patron saints. And maybe tonight I'll do my best to do an extra show just talking about what happens in the Djokovic match, because it is very curious to see what's going to happen with that the left shoulder issue. All right, so back to Dirty Dan. That's why his name is his name. I was fatigued as well, he says. I thought it was pretty tough that I was up first after playing yesterday, if I'm being brutally honest. Him being totally fresh and me, battling yesterday. I didn't get out of here until probably going on 6. Just complete polar opposites. And to try to beat him feeling tired, stiff, playing for 4 sets yesterday, it's near impossible. But you think a guy who's my ranking has any say in that at all? There are probably only 4 people in this tournament who have a say where they play and when they play. Maybe 3, yeah. 3. Big 3. Of course, Roger Federer, we can give our opinion. That's what we do. But I'm still going to walk out even if they schedule me at 4 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I don't blame Roger Federer. After all the stuff we hear, these big 3 guys, they keep the seats full. They keep the tickets selling. They keep the commercials being bought on the TV broadcast By the way, we got some Italian sparkling water today. Going to be on the courts. It's humid out here. Not so humid in New York right now. A lot better than last year. And another thing we should talk about really quick, since the last show, more and more people have said the court is very medium. Federer has voiced his opinion that it's not faster so far. He hasn't experienced it being much faster than last year, which he doesn't like. Some people are saying slower. I heard Ryan Harrison said, of course, this is an outside court. A lot of times they do play faster, that it's a little faster than last year. Anyone who's playing on Arthur Ashe saying it's slower, from what I've heard. Roger, though, noting that the court's a little dead, not bouncing as high. You know who's not going to like that? Rafa Nadal, not going to be so happy that his ball won't get as high this year as the last couple of years where he's done very well here. So I don't blame Roger Federer at all. What are you going to do? These guys always get the biggest stadiums because that's, like he said, TV and the tournament dictate this. That's where you can put the most people to watch the match. It's financially the only way to run this tournament. You can't just randomly throw people on center court or Arthur Ashe Stadium here at the U.S. Open. Let's put the draw on the screen. Let's take a look. So how are things looking? David Goffin, the Gopher, one of the nicknames. He will be up next for Roger Federer after coming through a pretty tough match. I was watching some of that match, and the difference to me with Pablo Carreño Busta, he's powering down this part of the year now for sure. The big difference to me is both these guys are moving great, getting to a lot of balls, playing pretty well, but David Goffin, he's able to step in and go with more confidence to attack, and when he does it more frequently than Busta, and it works more frequently than it does for Busta. So that's the big difference. David Goffin, a little dangerous for Federer. Federer, put this on the screen. Look at these second set stats. Unreal. When you see 100% win on first and second, we constantly see this with Roger Federer. A very strong third round. He did it in 2017 at the Australian Open. I want to say pretty much the same deal. His last three majors, all since going back to 2012. He had the drought. Australian Open 2017, Wimbledon 2017, and 2018 Australian Open. All three of these majors had kind of rough, maybe not as rough as here at the U.S. Open, although you can argue Federer's first sets rough in his first two rounds. Sets 2, 3, 4, pretty good. We've seen this every time Roger's won a major recently. First couple rounds, slow start. Third round looks really good, tends to get better from there, and really plays well when he gets to the final, unless, of course, it's Novak Djokovic. Did well against Rafa, though, semifinal and final, minus the French Open. So with that said, Roger Federer may be danger with David Goffin because he's playing pretty well. He can actually hurt Federer. He will get a lot of balls back like the first two guys. Dirty Dan did a great job of just getting balls in play. Federer kind of characterized the match as Dan Evans not going. I think the exact quotes Federer said in his press conference was, Dan was playing and kind of allowing me to miss. He was kind of keeping the rallies going, a little more defensive, not attacking as much as Dan Evans can, and kind of hoping Federer misses. Maybe Dan Evans didn't have the legs under, although you would argue if you're feeling more tired, go for it even more. Push the issue, rush the net, shorten the points, whatever you got to do. But Federer didn't think Dan Evans did that. So Goffin, he can do that. He could be a little dangerous. If Federer is very rough, like in the first two rounds, then we might have some serious problems as Federer fans for David Goffin. Let's look below that. Demon Hour is through. Nishikori is out. Like I was talking about in the last show with Nick Kyrgios maybe not facing any seeds en route to a semifinal with Rafa. Fingers crossed that could happen. Federer going to play the 15th seed in David Goffin, but if he gets through there, his quarterfinal is either going to be Demon Hour or possibly Grigor Dimitrov. If Federer gets through Goffin, this is looking pretty good. That gets him to the semifinals where he waits for Medvedev and Lopez. That's also tonight around the time Djokovic is playing. Looking like we will do a podcast tonight or tomorrow morning talking all about that stuff. Wawrinka up 2 sets. Djokovic, even if something's wrong with left shoulder, we still think he will get through Kudla, don't we? Big question mark with Medvedev having to play a couple days in a row. Is this going to hurt his chances? Dropped a set against young Bolivian Hugo Delin. I'm looking at this. If I'm Team Djokovic and I'm thinking Stan Wawrinka, potential major danger, like if we see what happened with Djokovic's last match against Juan Ignacio Londero. If Djokovic, just like if Federer struggles and goes through these same things where he's spraying balls all over the place for the first set, if he gives Goffin that first set advantage, that could be potentially pretty dangerous. If Djokovic is having some issues with the left shoulder against Wawrinka, that could be potentially even more dangerous. So we shall see what happens there. Bottom half of the draw, Kyrgios, Rublev. That's tomorrow. Nadal, Hyun Chung. also tomorrow. All right, we don't have much time, so let's just hit the music. And I had a really good piece here, but we don't have time. I will save this for sure. We'll do this on the podcast or on tomorrow's show, the YouTube show for everyone. Real quick, take a look at this first from the Express. Rafa Nadal pleads with Roger Federer. Please, Roger, reach the U.S. Open final for an epic showdown. If you read the article from the Express, that's not what it said at all. Rafa basically just said, oh, the media in here, you guys are asking me about it because you're so excited to see me and Roger finally play here. I'll do my part and when to get there. And I'm sure Roger will too. That's what Rafa really said. But here's what's more interesting to me. Francisco Roig, Rafa has found his footing on faster surfaces. Basically, this piece, let me sum it up for you. Kind of like what we saw at the Australian Open on hard courts. Rafa has a good win percentage on hard courts this year. And he's playing more aggressive. He's not falling back and playing as defensive as you would see him do on clay. He's really pushing the issue. Francisco Roig says Rafa's doing even better constructing points and attacking opponents than he did in 2013 when he, of course, won the U.S. Open. All right. Thank you for listening to the show. Go to patreon.com/coffeebreaktennis to be a part of our team and help the show grow. And also, we will post our official schedule up there in the section for posting. I almost called it a comment section, whatever it is. So if you're ever curious if we're canceling a show, when we're going to be on, go to that page from here on out for the rest of the U.S. Open, and I'll be posting the schedule there. Maybe we'll do that at some other tournaments, too. A lot to watch for tonight. Keep your eyes open. See ya!